Good morning, Stampers. Welcome to another Friday Facebook Live. My name is Sherry Roth. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator from Alberta, Canada, and I'm excited to come and craft with you this morning, as I do every Friday at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Sorry, I was just setting up my iPad so that I can see your comments. As you pop in, be sure to say hi so I know who's watching. And we're gonna start by drawing for last week's winner. So every Friday when I craft, you have the opportunity to win. Hello, Kathy. Good morning, Mary Liz. You have the opportunity to win last week's project, and how you get entered for that is by commenting. Good morning, Kristen. Happy Friday. Good morning, Barb from Pigeon Lake. Oh, out in the rain. Good morning, Shirley. Yeah, it's Friday already. So you have the opportunity by commenting on the Facebook Live if you're watching live, on the replay, or once I upload it to YouTube. You get an entry for each comment, and if you share the post, then you get entered, you get 5 entries. So last week we created this card here. We created some watercolored flowers. So I've got everybody's name in, and I will draw a winner, Mary Liz. So I will set that aside for you, Mary Liz. Perhaps I will see you tomorrow. Okay, so there's a couple things that I wanted to chat with you guys about, just to remind you about, and some things that are coming up that I wanted to share with you before we start crafting. First of all, as we near the end of August, I wanted to remind you, if you earned any host or coupon codes last month, so the $6 coupon codes with your $60 purchase, if you got any of those host codes, or not host codes, sorry, coupon codes, you want to make sure that you redeem them before the end of the month. Oh, Mary Liz says that she got it last month to give somebody else a try. Good morning, Kim. Oh, Kim's in Saskatchewan. Okay, so I'm going to redraw. And we have Shauna. Okay, so I will set that aside for Shauna. Thank you, Mary Liz. Okay, so make sure you redeem those coupon codes by the end of the day tomorrow, because you don't want to miss out on that extra $6 for free. And then I also wanted to remind you that tomorrow is the last day for the, I think it's called the Extra promotion, the one where you can purchase a customized starter kit for $135 here in Canada. No shipping, no GST. And you get to choose $205 worth of products. That is $100 in savings. So yesterday I posted on Facebook, if you had $100 worth of free product, what would you choose? And we had lots of people that would choose a whole grouping of products. You know how they have the one number for a whole suite. So you still have the opportunity to do that before the end of the month. Because that is a sweet deal. $135 for $205, and the extra bonus is that you can choose holiday catalog product. It doesn't just have to be annual catalog product. So that makes it even sweeter. Okay, speaking of the holiday catalog, I wanted to remind you guys that it's coming out. It starts September 4th, so not September 1st. So if you've been waiting to place an order, don't try on the 1st, because none of those numbers will go in. It starts September 4th. And then also Stampin' Up has announced that they're going to do their buy 3 get 1 free paper promotion in September as well. That paper promotion will run from September 4th to September 30th. I'll post the link to the flyer a little bit later, but there is a selection of DSP from the annual catalog that you can get. If you purchase 3 of them, you can get the 4th one for free. And one of those is actually the Pressed Petals Specialty DSP, which is really nice because that's a specialty DSP, which means it's more expensive, and you can choose that one as your free. So if you purchase 3 standard DSP packages, you can choose the specialty one for free, which is pretty nice. Okay, so I'll post the link to that so that you can see which papers are on sale. Again, that starts on September 4th, the same day the holiday catalog goes live. Okay. So now I'm going to flip my screen down and we'll go ahead and get started with the fun part. Okay. So you guys can get a little peek at the card there for a minute. Okay, let me just straighten this out here. Okay, I think that's good. All right, so today I was struggling because I've been so hyper-focused on scrapbooking lately for my 31 days of scrapbooking tips on my blog. I mean, I have been creating other projects as well because I've been planning classes and stuff like that. But I was at a loss yesterday. I'm on Pinterest trying to find some inspiration, trying to find something that inspires me on what to do for today. And just nothing was working for me. So I posted yesterday on Facebook asking for some suggestions on what to do today. And the first two people who commented actually suggested using our decorative masks. So this is a new set. These are called the Basic Pattern Decorative Masks. These are coming out in the holiday catalog and I love them. So these are, you get 4 different patterns. Love, love, love those polka dots. So there's those 2. And then there's this one. Almost kind of has a little damask-y kind of feel. And then this one. Love this one as well. All right. So we are going to play with this one today. I've done a few things with this, and if you're coming to my September card class, we're playing with these. We're using at least one of them on one of the projects. Perhaps another one as well, I'm not sure because I still have one more card to plan. And we are going to create a Halloween card, but I think it could also, if you change out the greeting, it could also be Thanksgiving or even a birthday card as well. So this is what we're going to create here. So we are going to use our sponge sprayers lots and lots and lots today. Lots of sponging. All right, so let me show you how this all comes together. Okay, so I'm going to pull out a piece of Whisper White cardstock. This is a 1/4 sheet, so it measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm going to put it on a piece of scrap. And then I'm going to use a little bit of washi tape and just hold it in place. Oh, hey, Andrew. Andrew and Mary Liz are watching together. Okay, so I'm going to put this up here, and I specifically cut my cardstock just slightly bigger. So I will trim this down after I do all my sponging and stuff. The reason I did that is so that I can tape it down to hold it in place so I don't have to worry about it moving around. And then I'm going to do the same with my mask. So I'm going to position it so that my trees are upright, and I will tape it on as well. Look at this, my washi tape is almost gone on this roll. Anybody else love to finish things up? Oh, I love it. Look, I'll finish it up today. I love finishing products. It just makes me feel like I got my money's worth. Okay, so now I am going to use my sponge brayer and some Memento black ink. Now these, you get 1 handle and 2 sponges when you purchase it. I have 2 of them. I wish we sold the sponges separately. These you can just remove them. You'll see me remove it later. And you can just rinse them out until the water goes clear, and then you can use it in a different color, not a problem. So I have this one that I use kind of in darker colors just because it's quite stained. It looks like it's purple. I've used it in navy blue and black. So I think that's why it's got that purple hue to it. So I'm just going to use that, and I'm going to roll the ink on, and you'll see that I'm not rolling my brayer back and forth like this, because then you're only inking just a portion of the brayer. You want to pick it up and you want to make sure that you're going all the way around. And then I'm going to start off of the mask and just work my way up and back down, back up, and then just re-ink it and just keep going. And it will take, because this, you want this quite dark because you want that silhouette look. It's going to take a little bit. just keep going. And I find if you work your way up and back down, rather than just going like this back and forth in one position, this will prevent getting harsh lines. Doesn't matter where you start. If, oh my, be careful, Sherry. Doesn't matter where you start. You can start at the top or the bottom if you're looking for the same color all the way down. Okay, if you wanted an ombre look, then you would obviously just start in the same at the bottom or the top, depending on which side you wanted darker. Wherever you want darker, that's where you start, okay? Good morning, Amy. So we are creating with the new masks from the holiday catalog, and we are creating kind of a silhouette look. So we want our trees to be quite dark. And I found last night when I was creating the sample, Memento was taking me a really long time to get it dark. So then I went, I'm gonna switch to my archival black, which I know we don't carry anymore. You could use Stays On. I just wanted a darker, crisper black. So I'm gonna add a bit more of this, and then it kind of sped up and it made it quite a bit darker faster. You can already see how much darker it's getting. Okay, so just keep adding those layers until you're happy with the color. I'm getting close. This might be the last layer here. Okay, I think I'm happy. Let's do one more. Good morning, Christine. Are you back home now, Christine? Okay, I'm happy with that. So you just want to keep adding your layers. So it's much faster to use this than it is to use a sponge. You can use a sponge, and you'll see that I will be using a sponge for part of it today. But I do find that using a sponge, especially with these masks, you really have to be careful because there's bits that kind of flip up. So you really want to be careful. You want them to hold it to be held in place as much as possible. Okay, so now we're going to remove our mask, and to clean this you can just use warm water and run it through the tap. If I was using Memento, it would get a lot cleaner than archival black. I found that the archival black does stain it a little bit, but that's fine. I'm not worried about it. It's not going to transfer. Okay, so now we're going to remove our cardstock, and look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So fun. Okay, so let's get rid of that. We'll move the mask out of our way. We're done with that for now. I'm gonna bring in another piece of scrap paper, and enjoying the last few days of summer holidays. Yes, I am. I'm really enjoying them, actually, because I know that the craziness is gonna start and school drop-offs and all that. But I sure wish it wasn't raining. I sure wish this last weekend was gonna be a nice weekend and not a miserable weekend. Okay, so now I'm going to use another piece of tape. And again, I'm just going over the very edge just to hold it in place. I will be trimming this. So if there's no ink gets underneath that, that's fine. That's why it is, I cut it larger. Just a sec here. I'm reading the comments here. Amy, can you use re-inker instead of an ink pad to make it darker? You know, you probably could. My concern with a re-inker is you would have to make sure that the surface is, like the re-inker just isn't in one spot. Because you know, when you go to put the brayer down, if it's just in one spot, like let's say this was the drop of re-inker, then you're gonna go to put the brayer down, and even if you re-ink it going like this, where you first put the brayer, rested the brayer down, that's gonna be where it's going to be darkest. So you'd have to kind of play around with that a little bit. Maybe if you did like a strip of it, but even still where the brayer touches the ink refill first, like you have to kind of play around with it and just see if you could get a consistent inking using an ink refill, but that's a good idea. The other thing that you could do is you can use Versamark and black embossing powder. Wouldn't that be awesome? Our new sparkly black embossing powder, that would be really cool to add a little sparkle to that. That's true, Kristen, right? You're right. No guilt that you should be doing something outside if it's raining out, right? And Mary Liz says that the rain is mucking up her weekend as well. Okay, now let me think here. Okay, next step. We've got, what I've done is I've taken another scrap of cardstock. This is just a piece of crumb cake cardstock, and I used my 2-inch circle punch and punched out a hole, because what I want to do is I want to, let's do it this way. I want to sponge my sun or my moon. Okay, so I am going to just hold this in place because I'm just going to be inking up here. I don't need to tape this down. I can get a good grip on it to hold it here. And I'm going to use crushed curry. And for this, I'm going to use my sponge. And now, normally when I sponge, I will start off and I'll rub in a circular motion. But I find that yellow, there's something in yellow that sometimes affects black. So instead of rubbing it, I'm going to tap it because I'm worried that this is going to blur. Like the yellow is going to remove some of the black ink and it's going to start to blur the image. So I'm going to tap in this case. And I want it quite dark anyways, so I'm not too concerned about having it be darker in one area over another. Okay, so I'm just sponging on there, and that's going to be our moon. Barb asked, do you use the sponge brayer for just one color? No, I rinse it out and use it for lots of different colors. So after I'm done with today's Facebook Live, all 3 sponge brayers that I use will get rinsed out, and I'll use them in different ones. The only one that I'm very, very careful of is this one. I will only use this one in really dark colors, just because it was used a lot in Night of Navy, and then I just used it in black. And even though I can rinse it out, I still worry about some of that ink coming off into my lighter ink pads. So that one I will always use with darker colors, but all the rest I've changed them out lots. Okay, so now we remove that, and there's our sun. Okay, so now we're going to mask our sun. So that hole, or that circle that I punched out, this is going to get put over top, and I'm going to stick this down, just like that. And then we are going to sponge some pumpkin pie. Now I don't remember, I think I used this one in red. Yeah, this one is in red. So to change these, what you do is just pull it out. There's these little plastic things, these little nubby things to stick into, very technical. And so this one, I believe I used this one in red, so I'm just gonna stick that in there. And then this one goes into the other one. Yeah, this is orange. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm using pumpkin pie, and I'm going to ink this up. No, you couldn't use them right away. You want them to be dry, you don't want them to be wet. But you do get 2 in a package, so you can use 2 different colors, or you can purchase a 3rd package and then have 4 different colors. Okay, so now I am going to sponge. Now I want the darker pumpkin to be along the top and then gradually get a little bit lighter, and then the darker red to be along the bottom and gradually blend itself in. So now I'm going across. And I'll go about maybe 2/3 of the way down. I will always start at the top. That's right, even Stampin' Up! Is in pumpkin spice season. So I'll just keep going until I'm happy with the color. I probably should have used a bit of a heat tool to heat my ink. I noticed that some of it is smearing here because I'm adding so many layers of ink. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna just zap this with my heat tool here. I don't want it to get any worse. Just give me a minute here. I gotta plug in my heat tool. Okay, let's just give this a quick zap. Okay, let's hope that that prevents any more smearing. Okay, so I'm gonna continue on with my pumpkin spice. Now you got me thinking about pumpkin spice, Mary Liz. My pumpkin pie. And just keep going. This time I'm gonna just go along the top. Just make it a little bit darker. Okay. All right, now I am going to switch out my sponge brayer and do red. I'm gonna do real red. And this time I'm gonna start from the bottom. Let's rotate this around. And I'm just repeating it. So I'm gonna start here and gradually work my way up. And this will help blend the two colors. See how it's blending nicely there? By starting with the dark down here and then just gradually going up. Yeah, it would work really well with the Raven stamp set. You're right, Mary Liz. Oh, are you having problems with the video freezing? It's working fine on my end from what I can see on my iPad. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. So now it looks like, because we've got that part in the middle that has kind of, good morning, Susan, that has kind of, had the two colors, so it looks like we've got more than one color here. Now the thing that you'll notice when you flip this up is there's a little bit around the edges here. So what I'll do is I'll just go in with my my crushed curry, and just sponge in those areas so that I can cover up that white. And it's okay if I'm getting some yellow around, like into where the pumpkin pie is as well. Because I think it adds to the effect. There we go. Let's just do a little bit more over here. Okay, so that's how you create that background. Okay, so let's remove this. And then we're gonna trim down our cardstock. There's so many layers of ink on this cardstock. You can feel the ink on the cardstock. Okay. So I'm gonna bring in my paper trimmer, and I'm going to trim this down to 3 3/4 by 5. And I wanna make sure I trim off both sides because I've got these two little nubby things here. So I'm gonna trim 1/4 of an inch off this side, and then flip it around and do 1/4 of an inch off this side. And then we want to trim, let's do 1/4 of an inch off here, and then another 1/4 of an inch off the bottom. Then I'm losing all my dark. That's okay. Okay. So now I've got that trimmed down to the size that I want it. And what we're gonna do is, I've got the rest of my pieces here. That is going to get mounted onto a piece of black that measures 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And then I've gone ahead and I've pre-cut the word Halloween from the Word Wishes dies. So these dies, actually, you can get them in a bundle with the A Wish for Everything stamp set. I love anything that has scripty words. And this is great. It kind of complements the Well Written bundle. I think that's, or Well Said bundle. It complements it well because that one has kind of lots of generic kind of greetings, and this one is more specific for specific occasions. So there's Thanksgiving in here, there's Halloween, there's St. Patrick's Day, New Year's, Easter, Father's Day, Mother's Day. I think I might have most of them. And then there's some great greetings that go along with it to stretch the use. So for the inside of the card, I'm going to use this one, wishing you a trick or treating, candy eating, frightful, delightful time. So I'm going to use that for the inside. And then like I said, I've gone ahead and I've pre-cut the Halloween from black cardstock, and I'm going to use the word happy. Okay, so that comes from that bundle, which is in the annual catalog. And let's bring my stamps and my Memento black ink, and I'm going to ink up the word happy. Stamp that on a scrap piece of white cardstock. Oh, let's keep that open. And I've got my inside layer, so we'll stamp that while we've got the ink out. So this just measures 4 by 5 1/4. I always love adding a layer inside when I've got a colored card base. I think it just finishes it off nicely. I gotta stand up for this. Barbara's asking, what color did you use on your other card? Looks more red. I still used real red. I used the exact same colors. I probably just put it on a lot thicker last night. Okay, so I've got my greeting done, and then I'm gonna take a black sponge, and I want to sponge around the edges just because it's Halloween. So I'm gonna sponge around the edges of that, and then I'm also gonna do my card base as well. So I am using a Calypso Coral card base. You could do crushed curry, you could do pumpkin pie, real red, you could use any of those colors, but I found that those colors, for me, they just seemed a bit too bright. I just wanted something a little bit more muted. I think the new terracotta tile would look good too. Okay, so let's stick this on the inside. So I'm gonna use a bit of Tombow. I'm running low on my Fast Fuse refills, so Fast Fuse is going to be used primarily for scrapbooking now, And I'm going back to Tombow, which is my second choice of adhesive. And I know a lot of people don't like liquid glue. I love Tombow because it does give you the freedom to move things around and adjust if you need to. It does take a bit to get used to because you don't want too much so that it wrinkles the paper. Okay, let me catch up on the comments here. Love that saying. I know, I like that saying too. I'm not a huge, I don't make a ton of Halloween cards. Like might make 1 or 2 a year. I love Halloween scrapbooking and I love making treats though. So I use that greeting on a couple Halloween scrapbook layouts as well. Amy says, if someone could afford one, which bundle, could only afford one, which bundle do you recommend? Well Said or A Wish for Everything? You know what? I think Well Said is a more versatile bundle because it's more all occasion type, whereas this one is specific to the occasion. So if you could only afford one, I would definitely do the Well Said. Barb says, any talk in Greece about maybe bringing back Fast Fuse? No, I don't think they'll bring it back. I mean, maybe they'll come out with something different, but Fast Fuse won't come back. Okay, so now I'm gonna bring in my die cutting machine and I'm going to use these fabulous new framelets, or dies, I should say, from the holiday catalog. Now these are going to get overlooked, especially if you don't do Halloween. I should look up the name of these. Let me grab my holiday catalog. So these dies are part of the Halloween suite. Now I don't buy Halloween stamp sets. They're part of the Monster Bash suite, and they are called Ornate Frames dies. And these frames, I love them because they do not look Halloween-y. There's a stamp set that coordinates, which is great. It's really cute. But these frames, oh my gosh, like Kathy said, they are so fabulous. They seriously are. And they're great for so many different occasions. They are not, like I said, they're not Halloween-y. You can fit so many different greetings and images in each one of these frames. Everybody needs these. Seriously, they are amazing. So I'm gonna use this one. Some of them have stitching around it. So this one has stitching, this one has stitching. These 3 have like a filigree kind of look to them. I love this little guy, so cute. Just nice different shapes, something fun. So we're gonna use this. Pull in my die cutting machine here. Let's turn this around so I'm not looking at it upside down. Okay. All right, that looks good. Let's just move it over just a little bit because I'm gonna trim off the right side. Okay, get this out of the way. All right, so look at that. Look at that beautiful stitching on it. Love it. You've heard me say it before, anything with stitching, you know that I will have. Love, love, love me some stitching. Okay, so I wanted to add a little bit of detail underneath there. So this is some ribbon that is part of that Monster Bash suite. I love it when you can use stuff that's part of a suite that maybe you don't necessarily want to purchase, but there's bits and pieces that you love. So it's called the Scalloped Edge Ribbon. And I'm gonna flip that over. I will use a bit of Fast Fuse. And then I'm going to stick this so that the scallop is just peeking out. Just like that. Just give this a trim. Okay, and then I only want it to go to this bit right here. So I'll use my ribbon scissors, trim that. And then I'm going to use a couple little mini dimensionals. Here they are. Just add a couple in behind here. You love the card, Andrew? Good. How's your Halloween thing coming, all the planning and stuff that you're doing? You probably love all the Halloween stuff in the catalog. Okay, so I'm sticking it over the edge just ever so slightly, and then I'm going to use my scissors and trim it. Okay, let's put that back where it belongs so I don't lose that. All right, now this is going to get attached to here. Okay, so you see how I'm just using a very little bit and I'm kind of pulling it. That's really, when you use liquid glue, especially Tombow because it sticks so well, that's really all you need. You don't need a lot, and I try to avoid putting it in the middle just to avoid those wrinkles that you sometimes get. And not go too close to the edge so that it doesn't seep out around the edges. Okay, so we've got that. That is gonna go onto our card base. You can see it a little bit better on the black. Just in the center. So I have a nice even border. And then I'll use a bit of Tombow on here, on the back of this. My self-adhesive sheets would have been handy. Now that we don't carry them, I don't think to use them as often as I should. You like the card, Jean? Good. Barb says she's more of an adhesive kind of girl. You know what? I think a roll-on adhesive like Snail or Fast Fuse is definitely faster to use. There we go. So that's on there. And then I thought it needed a bit of sparkle. So I wanted some black rhinestones, and I don't have them. I think there is a package of rhinestones in the annual catalog that does have black in them, if I remember correctly, but I didn't have any left. So what I did for my class, my Christmas class, everybody was supposed to get a package of Noble Peacock rhinestones, and they were on back order. It didn't come in on time. So I had colored them with my Stampin' blends in the colors that we needed. So just the regular ones. And then I had a few extra. So these ones actually were just regular rhinestones. I colored them in Old Olive with my Stampin' blend, and now I'm coloring them in black so that I can use them on this card. So did you know that you can use your Stampin' blend markers to make your rhinestones whatever color you want? I don't recommend that you do a lot because it does affect the tip of your marker. Paper piercing tool. Okay, so we're gonna take that. And we'll put one right here. Another one over here. And then the last one. Put up here. There we go. And the card is done. So what do you think? I think it's a pretty nice Halloween card. I don't know, I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I think you could easily change out this greeting. It wouldn't necessarily have to be Halloween. You could do a birthday card. You could probably even do Thanksgiving if you wanted. So those are the two cards. So what do you guys think? Yes, Amy, I agree. Coloring the embellishments and ribbon with blends. I love that we can get them in so many different colors. Let's see. Oh, Barb, you stocked up on those adhesive sheets? Yeah, I bought a couple extra packages too, and I keep forgetting to use them. I need to pull them out so that they're sitting on my desk. All right, so that's it for today. If there's any supplies that you saw today that you want to purchase, feel free to visit my website and use the current host code, and I'll send you a little something for free with your $50 order. Mary Liz says it's beautiful. And remember that the holiday catalog starts September 4th. The DSP promotion starts September 4th. And tomorrow is the last day to redeem your coupon codes and to take advantage of the extra $40 in free product in the customizable starter kit. So $135 is all you pay, and you get to choose $205 worth of product. All right. So thanks so much for watching. Have a fabulous long weekend, and I will see you. Oh, next week, I will not be here on Friday. I am going to do my Friday live on Thursday. So Thursday, September 5th, I think September 5th at 11 a.m. I'll be going live. All right. Thanks, guys. Take care.